David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army, retired.
Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the Correctional Facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us.
Why do you work for Santa Fe County?
For my family.
For your safety. For you.
For my community.
For the public.
For the community.
For the retirement.
To serve my community.
For my family.
For the outdoors.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army, retired.
Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the Correctional Facility holds a rapid hire event every
meeting of the Board of County Commissioners to order on February 13th at just after 2 o'clock. Madam Deputy Clerk, can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Anna Hamilton.
Here.
Commissioner Justin Green.
Here.
Commissioner Anna Hansen.
Present.
Commissioner Camila Bustamante.
Present.
And Chair Hank Hughes.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, let us all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the state pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. And then we have the land acknowledgement. I acknowledge that this county building and Santa Fe County are on the original homelands of the Tewa people, who know it as Owapoge Owingeh, White Shell Watering Place. Yeah, Commissioner Hanson.
I know we're going to do a moment of reflection, but along with that, I just wanted to mention that a longtime friend of mine, husband Michael Campbell, former, his father was the former governor of the state of New Mexico, passed away on February 8th, and I will hope that we would hold him in a moment of silence.
Okay, but first we'll have the moment of reflection from Community Services Department, Wendy Johnson.
Good afternoon. My name is Wendy Johnson. I'm a prevention specialist with the Community Services Department, and I wanted to say that today is my 1-year anniversary with the Santa Fe County. And in my 30-plus years of experience, I do not believe that I have ever worked in a more supportive atmosphere. So let's take a moment to focus on the work ahead of us today, being ever mindful of our decisions, and in the best interest of our community, we take a moment of silence.
So let's have a moment of silence for that and for all the people around the world suffering from war and famine. Okay, please be seated. Next is approval of the agenda. Manager Schaefer, are there any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, no recommended changes to the agenda as presented. I would just note that we did post our initial agenda for today's meeting last Tuesday, February 6th, and the amended and final agenda was posted on Friday, February 9th at approximately 6:27 p.m., which is more than 72 hours before our meeting today as required by the Open Meetings Act. The changes between the original and amended agenda were to add items 3B and 3C, as well as miscellaneous action items 6D, 6E, and 6F, and finally add subparagraph 1, in re Suboxone antitrust litigation under executive session from matters from the county attorney. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager. What's the pleasure of the board for the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Green to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. The agenda is approved, which takes us to approval of meeting minutes. The first minutes we're looking at are the minutes of January 9th, 2024. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion from Commissioner Hamilton, seconded by Commissioner Hanson to approve the minutes of January 9th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next would be approval of the January 23rd minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Hamilton, seconded by Commissioner Bustamante. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved for both meetings. Next, we will go to consideration of proclamations, commissioner resolutions, and/or recognitions, action items. The first one being approval of a letter from the Santa Fe Board of County Commissioners to the U.S. Department of Transportation in support of the North Central Regional Transit District's raised funding request to implement its bus rapid transit network. And that's my item, since I serve as the board's representative on the Regional Transit District, and we're requesting that you approve this letter, which will support a grant to buy 7 battery electric buses as part of our sustainability plan. Commissioner Hanson.
I think that it is a wonderful initiative and letter, and thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. You know, North Central has made a tremendous effort in their goals towards sustainability, and we should be incredibly proud to have a transit organization such as them in New Mexico. And with that, I'll move to approve the letter.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Bustamante, who beat out Commissioner Green by a hair. And, any discussion?
Just in support of this, supportive but cautiously optimistic that battery technology will work for the ranges that these buses need, especially in cold weather. So I hope that they have the right infrastructure to support this, and that the battery technology is in line. But as you all know, I'm a pretty big advocate for EVs, so let's see if it works. It'll be great.
All right. Let's go ahead and vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That one passes. Next is item B, request approval of a proclamation proclaiming February 21st as Serene Mountain Day at the Upaya Center. Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you very much. I want to recognize that Upaya and Roshi Joan Baker, Halifax, and is in the audience, along with a number of her board from the Upaya Center. And so I'm really honored to have you all here. Thank you for showing up. I'm bringing this resolution forward because of all of the good work that they are doing in the community, plus what they have done on Upper Canyon to preserve land and wilderness that is really important. Roshi asked me to speak at their dedication on the Serene Mountain Day, and I gladly accepted, since I have a very, very long history with this piece of land. 50 years ago, when I came to New Mexico, or 51 years, the first place I went was to this area where there is a small little stupa. And so it has been something that has been part of my life in Santa Fe since the very beginning. And I want to really recognize Upaya's years of commitment to serving the county's most vulnerable constituents. Upaya Center is a global community for those working to create racial, economic, environmental justice, compassionate care for the most vulnerable, and a place of commitment, daily contemplated practice, and learning through its retreats, training programs, and community. And I will read briefly some of the highlights in the proclamation, which will be presented on February 21st. So in 1973, a Bodhi Stupa was built on the land that is now known as Upaya Center. And many great sentient beings have come and blessed this land, and it is, which has created an environment for awareness to grow and develop, whereas the Upaya Center is a place of practice and an educational center dedicated to the development of relationship between traditional and compassionate engagement with our world, which was established in 1990. And whereas the Upaya Center is a global community for those working to create racial, economic, and environmental justice, compassionate care for those most vulnerable, and a place of commitment. Whereas Upaya realizes its vision by being a refuge to many who come through its temple doors and offering mature programs, traditional, experimental, and system-based, that meet the needs of the people, society, and the environment. Upon Upaya's socially engaged and activism links contemplative practice with social environmental action, including addressing issues related to structural violence. It also engages in direct service to vulnerable populations, including dying people, the incarcerated, the homeless, refugees, and those who are mentally impoverished. And whereas Upaya residents engage in bearing witness, practice, and serving to hundreds of people at risk for homelessness, offering shared, healthy, home-cooked meals at the Interfaith Shelter, Pete's Place, and St. Elizabeth Men's Shelter. Whereas Upaya's Prison Project helps inmates cultivate wholesome and pro-social change of mind and behavior to facilitate a more positive experience during incarceration and a successful re-entry into society. And whereas Upaya Center has done an impressive job of acquiring land surrounding the monastery to protect and preserve the wildlife of the Santa Fe River corridor and to ensure that no further development occurs. Whereas a ceremonial consecration and dedication of Upaya's new building, Serene Mountain, will take place on the evening of February 21st. And whereas Santa Fe County recognized years of commitment to serving county's most vulnerable constituents, now therefore it be resolved that we, the Board of County Commissioners of Santa Fe, do hereby proclaim the 21st of February as Serene Mountain Day at Upaya Center. So I would like to make a motion to approve this proclamation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
Mr. Chair, I would just like to thank you for bringing this forward and thank the Upaya Center for all the good work that you do in the community, sincerely.
Yeah, I would also like to thank the Upaya Center. I am somewhat familiar with some of the good work you've done. Great. Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Hanson, a second from Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I would like to ask if Daniel would please take a picture of us with Roshi and the Board of Directors.
Okay, we'll come around to the front for a picture. All right, that takes us to item 3C, which is request for ratification and approval of comments from the Santa Fe County Board of County Commissioners to the U.S. Department of Energy in regards to the Chromium Draft Environmental Assessment. And Commissioner Hanson, I'll let you explain this.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Commissioner Hughes and I have sent this letter off because the deadline was happening, but then DOE at the last moment decided that they should extend the deadline again. So even though I think we have produced a very good letter that addresses the issues of the chromium plume and the issues between NMED, we have a hexavalent chromium plume above our water system. It is a serious threat to the Buckman direct diversion. The Buckman direct diversion also wrote a letter and that has concerns about this. One of my big concerns is that DOE likes to call it a chromium plume when it's really a hexavalent chromium plume, and there's a huge difference between a chromium plume, which is C3, which is benign, and a hexavalent chromium plume, which is poisonous and deadly. And so I think it's misleading. I just came home from Washington, D.C., and I had the opportunity to meet with Senior Advisor Ike White from DOE and Undersecretary Jill Ruby from NNSA, and they had my letter. They knew our letter was there. Ike had it in his notebook. He said, "You're very efficient. You would get it to me the day before you arrived." So that was good. We need to stay on top of them. The reason we wrote this letter, the reason the Buckman direct diversion wrote this letter, is because if we're not watching, they're not going to protect us. And I know they're a federal government agency and it is their job to protect us, but we are the citizens that are being affected by their contamination of land in New Mexico. And so therefore, I think it's really important that we continue to let them know that we are watching. And so that is part of what the letter is about, besides, but I also let my fellow commissioner on Buckman, if you would like to say a few words about it.
Commissioner Hamilton?
Thank you. There's really not too much to add. You've really covered it. I think, part of the idea is to take a very important issue and keep it in front of them. And in this case, it was, you've worked on this issue for so long that having the items available for the letter were not the biggest lift, but letting our position be known can be valuable. You never know when it tips the balance. So appreciate doing this.
So on that point, one of the things that we say in the letter, because I'm not going to read it to everybody, is that we are supporting NMED's position of option 2, which means that we support the idea of them continuing to extract the hexavalent chromium plume, but we support the idea of a land application elsewhere. What's happening is that for the last couple of years, DOE has continued to re-inject once they take the water out of the chromium plume, they've been re-injecting it back into the chromium plume. NMED feels like that this just moves everything around. It doesn't provide a dome of protection, so to speak. So what we feel they need to do is do a land application elsewhere. So they take the chromium, hexavalent chromium out of the plume, clean the water with reverse osmosis and iodine, a number of other ways they clean it, and then put a land application somewhere else so that it's not diluting what's already in the plume. I know that might not be a perfect example, but if you read the letter explains it much better than I might have done right there. But I think you get the gist. And so I think it's important that we as a board vote, all of us, to pass this and continue to work on this issue with NMED and DOE.
Commissioner Green?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Hanson and Chair Hughes. This is an important issue, and as a new alternate on the BDD board, it was interesting to hear some of the technical aspects of the alternatives and how important it is for us to be involved as stakeholders and as very close at hand stakeholders in the decision making. And any good environmental assessment has stakeholder involvement, and as is somewhat regularly applied by the federal government, sometimes they forget about the local guys that have to live with their decisions. So this is good for us to show that we're paying attention, that we understand the consequences of each of the decisions, and that we have technical expertise supporting our position. So I'm in full support of this, and thank you for bringing this forward.
And I think it's important that when we go to DC, that we continue to meet with DOE, we continue to remind them that we are here, we watch them, and we know what they're doing, so that our letters don't fall on deaf ears, and that remind them when they come here that they need to meet with county commissioners alike. So I just want to add that in. Thank you. So I guess.
Would you care to make a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to request ratification and approval of the comments from the Santa Fe County Board of County Commissioners to the U.S. Department of Energy.
Second.
Okay, is there further discussion? I would just like to add that I'm glad that we brought this forward, and in case you didn't catch it, Commissioner Hanson and I signed a letter just from the two of us so that we could meet the deadline, but now we have a chance for all of us to, and for the letter to be from all of us. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes, for supporting this letter.
Very important. So that moves us along to the consent agenda, number 4. Are there any items on the consent agenda that commissioners would like to remove for discussion? Seeing none, would somebody like to make a motion on the consent agenda?
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as items A, B, and C as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Hanson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nobody opposed, so that item passes. Thank you very much. Moving along to item number 5, appointments and reappointments. Requesting approval of appointment of 2 County Planning Commission members to the Extraterritorial Land Use Commission. And we have Penny Ellis Green to explain that to us. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to give you those resolution numbers for 4B and 4C real quick.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead and give us the resolution numbers.
So for 4B, it's 2024-020. And for 4C, it's 2024-021.
Thank you very much. And now we can move along to the appointments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. The Extraterritorial Land Use Commission is made up of 5 members of the Planning Commission, and the remaining 2 members of the Planning Commission serve as alternates. 2 Planning Commission members' terms expired in December 2003, and new Planning Commission members have been appointed. So the current Planning Commission members serving on ALUC are Carl Trujillo as an alternate, Erica Bowe, Rhea Serna, and Wendy Pirard as members. And so the New Planning Commission members who now need to be appointed are Jeremy Meir and Dan Pava. So our recommendation is for appointment of Jeremy Meir on the Luke to serve the previous 2-year term to expire on August 30th of this year, and Dan Pava to serve as an alternate, again, to expire August 30th of this year. And I stand for questions.
Mr. Chair. Any questions? Commissioner Hanson.
I move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You have your appointments.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I know we're trying to make this the shortest meeting on record, and so far I think we're doing a good job. So we move on to item 6A, final order for case number 23-5091, Francis Phillips variance appeal.
Again, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, this is on as miscellaneous action items only because the case did not have a unanimous vote. So Mr. Larnaga is here if there are any questions, but we didn't intend to make a presentation given that it is on this part of the agenda, again, only because the vote was 4-1. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would someone care to make a motion?
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion from the board? So we have a motion from Commissioner Hanson, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstaining? Okay, it passed unanimously here. That moves us along to item B, approval and disapproval or the county manager to execute a lease between Edgewood Soil and Water Conservation District and Santa Fe County for the purpose of leasing office space located at 2506 Route 66 in Moriarty. And that would be Tom Dominguez and Scott Caseman to explain what's being asked here. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, good afternoon. Several weeks ago, the County Extension Office came to the county requesting we assist them with executing a lease with the Edgewood Soil and Water Conservation District for a small office space within their existing building near Edgewood. So we went ahead and took a look at that, and there does appear to be a need for additional space there. We currently provide office space for them at our fairgrounds property on Rodeo Road, but that's quite a distance for our constituents in the southern part of the county to come to acquire services. So the Edgewood Soil and Water Conservation District agreed to lease to us 160 square foot office space, along with, included in that is utilities, Wi-Fi, access to a kitchen, a conference room, and a copy room. So when you take into account all of those features that are added to the office space, a lease rate of $500 a month is defensible and justifiable. We feel like it's a good deal. So the county manager it does fall within the county manager's signature authority to go ahead and execute and sign this lease, but he wanted to bring it to you today for a couple of reasons. To provide an opportunity for Tom Dominguez, the County Extension Office Director, to give an overview of the extension education programs and activities within the county's Cooperative Extension Office, including the anticipated benefits of having office space in the Edgewood area, and also because this could lead to a request for continued funding in future years. Right now, there is sufficient budget in the Extension Office to pay for the lease for fiscal year 2024. And with that, Tom?
Thank you, Commissioners. Tom Dominguez, County Extension Agent for Agriculture's County Director. I want to introduce my co-workers, Kylie Butterfield, 4-H Ag, Paige Matis, 4-H FCS. We have Michelle Stitza, who also has just joined us here recently in the last year, Family Consumer Science adult. She's doing some programming in the office today. We have 2 ICANN ideas in cooking and nutrition educators. One that serves up here in Santa Fe, and Terry Werner, who serves down in the Edgewood area as well. So in the Edgewood office, this kind of just came about all of a sudden. We serve Edgewood. We go there on a pretty regular basis. Before the pandemic, I received some grant money or some monies from the land use department. We worked together on a community garden down at the Edgewood Senior Center. That really exposed extension service and our educational services down to the Edgewood area, and really caused an influx of clientele and constituents to come into our office requesting information and help. In this past year, post-COVID, there were some rumblings as to why didn't we have an office down there to better serve some of those folks. We have 9 4-H clubs, 5 of which are in that Edgewood area. Edgewood Saltwater Conservation District serves 1 million acres. A little over 500,000 acres of that is in Santa Fe County. I go down to the Saltwater Conservation Board meetings there to offer services and gain information from their issues, and seeing how extension education can help address those. We also attend those Santa Fe, Pojoaque Saltwater Conservation District meetings as well. They had some office space, made it available to us. In fact, we've been using it free of charge thus far. I met with Commissioner Bustamante about maybe getting a lease down there with Edgewood Saltwater Conservation. Just makes sense. We serve that clientele. I think Fair Board has even had some meetings down there as well. We share the same clientele, the same services. We provide education to landowners there as well. There's been a big influx of small acreage landowners that come in wanting to know how they can be better stewards of their land. 4-H activities, of course, in the school, Edgewood, down there as well. So we have a lot of activities going on all over the county. Just makes sense to have a place for them down there as well. Any questions?
Any questions or comments from the board?
Definitely have comments, and I want to thank you for being here. I know that we spoke a while ago, but I am so proud of what Edgewood does, and I think number-wise, even though there's just one less 4-H entity as far as that goes, aren't most of our extension people in the Edgewood, Moriarty area, the Stanley area?
Yes, Commissioner Bustamante, we'd say a majority, a little over half of our total 4-H volunteers, as well as our membership, youth membership as well, is down there.
Yeah, so I'm
in
grateful
Edgewood
that
area.
you brought it here, and I'm happy to see that you brought some folks here. If you want to you mentioned who they were.
Yeah, I also brought some folders with a little bit of information, nothing that needed to be reviewed beforehand. If I can pass those, it's just flyers and newsletters. You know, we do the Master Gardener program as well. We have over 300 volunteers there. We accumulate over 12,000 volunteer hours in the county. You know, I maybe some other time when I can come with a little more time, I can give the whole spiel from I can take you back to 1862 Moral Land Grant to 1914 Smith-Lever Act. But there's a lot of history there in extension education, and legislations has been passed, and we've been here hundreds of years, and we'll keep being there, and we're serving the constituents of Santa Fe County, and I'd like to share all that good information with y'all at some time.
Thank you for that. And when we go to the state fair and we run over to see what was grown in Santa Fe County and who had the biggest squash and the best tomatoes and the kids who had their 4-H signs, that has a little bit to do with some of your leadership in our 4-H groups, isn't it?
That's correct. Our biggest event for sure is County Fair. If you come out and see us then, first week of August. But we like to we would like to spread the word and carry wave the flag of 4-H is much more than that as well. It's a lot of leadership program, leadership building. We just took, there's a leadership activity, 3 or 4 days down in Albuquerque. We took a van full of kids down there. So it's much more than that. It's much more than kids and cows. And I always like to say we're not in the business of raising blue ribbon animals, but we are in the business of raising blue ribbon kids. And certainly so, seeing these kids grow up through the program is quite rewarding. So
Thank you. Tom, 4-H kids do better in school. 4-H kids have more friends.
Absolutely.
4-H kids learn a lot of responsibility early on.
Absolutely.
When you know whether it's raining or not, you got to go feed the animals. So
that's
thank
right.
you for teaching that and supporting that.
We teach them financial management. We had a parliamentary procedure team as well that went to state contests, participated. They know how to conduct a meeting. They know how to talk to we also had a 4-H day at the Roundhouse just a week or two ago. They get up there and they know how to talk to their representatives up there. So it's a great program, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think Commissioner Hamilton was next.
Thank you. My question has nothing to do with the wonderful work that you guys do, and I'm looking forward to a day I might retire and join the Master Gardeners program. But besides that,
Yes.
how are you? Will you plan to man the office? Are you going to ship somebody down there full time, or?
Commissioner Hamilton, that's something we'll be talking about for sure. Right now, I go down to twice a week. 4-H goes down there twice a week, or that's our plan. So yeah, we'll have a plan as to how to man that. That office has people in there all the time anyway. If we're not there, they're there to accept plant samples, soil samples, 4-H projects, things like that. So there's somebody there every Monday through Friday for sure.
Commissioner Hanson?
Thank you, Tom. I want to thank you again for coming to Coffee and Tea Under the Trees last year. You were my kickoff speaker, and I think it was a really good way to start the summer. I think that I recognize how many children we have that come up from Santa Fe, up from Edgewood to Santa Fe, and I recognize that by all the thank you notes that we get. And so I want to recognize all the children and their parents and everybody in 4-H who has helped them build this good manners of sending thank you notes, a kind of a lost art. And so I think that it's really important that we support the 4-H in whatever ways we can. And I think that this is a good way to use that office space. $500 a month is incredibly reasonable. And I think the services that we can provide and, how we staff that office, we're looking to you and your team to do that, and how people will be able to interact is very important. So we look forward to hearing about it in the future.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson. Coffee and Tea Under the Trees was a great outreach for us as well, so we look forward to doing that. And any of the commissioners doing some outreach with you all on educating folks on extension education, sure.
Commissioner Green has a comment, I think.
Just a quick thank you and acknowledgement that I've always been impressed with how 4-H trains youth to sort of respect some of our agricultural and livestock roots. We hand kids tablets and cell phones, but we don't remind them where we came from. And this is one of the great ways to teach responsibility and respect for the land and respect for animals, and we see it come back in spades. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Green. We're very much into teaching the custom and culture of the area as well, especially to our youth. We partner with the Acequia Association, the Acequia Commission, a lot of those other agencies and nonprofits. We like partnering with them as well to deliver the message.
And just a reminder, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
That, Edgewood is in the edge of Santa Fe County, and that you are in the Northern Rio Grande National Heritage Area, and that we are installing signs. And I was just in Washington, D.C. with the Alliance of National Heritage Areas, where we recognize Senator Heinrich for all his work that he has done to support heritage areas throughout the United States. It was a very well-attended event by all Alliance members from across the United States. And you know, teaching 4-H is definitely part of the heritage of our community and an important part.
Very much so, Commissioner Hanson. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to make a comment before you make a motion, which is just ditto to everything the other commissioners said. Thank you all for your work, and 4-H is very important. And I certainly appreciate all the thank you notes we get after the county fair from the kids and their pictures with their animals. It's very rewarding to us just to get the thank you notes, but I'm sure that the kids get much more out of it. So thank you, and with that, Commissioner Bustamante, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the execution of a lease between the ESWCD and the county for the County Extension Office for office space to better allow the County Extension Office to serve the agricultural and 4-H community in southern Santa Fe County.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Bustamante, a second from Commissioner Hamilton. Is there further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes, and I agree, that's a very good deal, $500 a month. Can't get that anywhere else. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, so that takes us to item C, resolution granting the county manager authority to sign all documents necessary for the acquisition of a .3915 acre parcel of land located at 2515 New Mexico 14 in Madrid, New Mexico, required for the Madrid fire suppression and training underground water tank project. So that would be Scott Caseman and Kurt Temple to bring us up to speed on this. Welcome, Kurt.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, right now we are requesting the purchase of basically a third of an acre to place a 40,000-gallon water tank in. This is funding that we received for the Madrid Fire District. Originally, it was going to go to putting in a water tank and running some lines down to the fire station, but with the escalation costs that have happened over the last couple of years, we did not have the money. So the Abandoned Mines took over that project. They are going to complete that with the funding that they have. And so with the funding that we had at the time, we decided, after talking with Chief Black and the chief for Madrid, that this would be an area that they could support putting this tank in for better fire service and having training facilities down there to pull the water from.
Thank you. Are there questions?
No. Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hamilton, a second from Commissioner Bustamante. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have approved the acquisition of the third of an acre. Actually, it's .3915 acres. Very precise there.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that takes us to item D. Wait, we need a resolution number.
Mr. Chair, the resolution number for item 6C is 2024022.
Thank you very much. And with that, we'll go to item D, request approval of amendment number 4 to collective bargaining agreement between Santa Fe County and the Santa Fe County Firefighters Association, Local 4366. And we have, welcome back, Rachel and Valerie to explain that for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. We're before you today on a shorter matter than last time. This is amendment number 4 to the Firefighters Association Collective Bargaining Agreement. You may recall that in August of 2022, we put in place a new pay structure for this group, which included percentage increases for firefighters who obtained some kind of EMS certification. and in particular, significant increases for those who become paramedics. So, for example, a paramedic firefighter receives almost 30% more in pay than a non-paramedic firefighter. The pay structure did not really leave much pay differential between the firefighters with their paramedic increase and lieutenants and captains, so that there was not significant financial impetus to move up in ranks. There was some, and it has continued to happen, but we committed to coming back at some point to address that compaction issue. And before you today is a proposal to increase the percentage that a lieutenant receives when they are a paramedic, and to add a percentage that captains would receive if they are paramedics. Lieutenants would receive 8.2%, and paramedic captains would receive 5.75% on top of their hourly rate. And we have the support of the bargaining unit in moving this forward, and stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions? We don't seem to have many questions today.
No, they're good things to go through.
Move to approve the amendment number 4 to the collective bargaining agreement between Santa Fe County and the Santa Fe County Fire Department Firefighters Association Local 4366.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Green and a second from Commissioner Hamilton, who almost made the motion.
Almost.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we've approved the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that takes us to item E, a resolution authorizing Santa Fe County to enter into a grant agreement with New Mexico Environment Department for the purpose of obtaining project subsidy grant funds in the amount of $459,000, designating the use for the purpose defined in the most current project description for the, I believe this relates, well, I guess we'll hear what this relates to from Attorney Young and Paul Choman. Paul, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, commissioners. PFAS is a hot button word these days, and Santa Fe County has been proactive in addressing it once it's been identified in our water systems in La Cienega, La Cienegua area. Commissioner Bustamante was a part of a meeting we had with the community last fall, I believe. Very, very vocal about her support for us not being responsible for the issue, but at the same time responding to the need from the community. What I'm addressing today specifically is identified in the memo, is a resolution to enter into a grant agreement with an MED for $459,000 grant, which was initiated by Public Works, and we're seeking approval of that today. The purpose of this project, as defined, would be to, and I'm quoting here, investigate, model, and plan for PFAS and other emerging contaminants to understand the scope of the problem. Acceptance of this grant, however, does not obligate Santa Fe County to complete any projects that are identified in the investigation of the contaminants. Today we're requesting approval of the resolution as you have before you, authorizing the county to enter into the grant agreement with NMED for the purpose of obtaining the $459,000 grant funds. There's no financial participation required of Santa Fe County. Any questions I can answer, I'd be happy to.
Mr. Hanson.
So what do we plan to do?
So two focus points at this point. Right now, we have hired Shelley Moeller as our point person on communication side. She's putting together a list of FAQs, frequently asked questions and responses in both English and Spanish. I forget the number, but it's a sizable amount of questions. Every question is important. Many questions are redundant, but we're trying to address as many as we can. Secondly, we also have the technical side we're approaching, where we'll be doing some modeling of some additional sampling. Not every well will be sampled. There's about over 1,000 wells in the communities that we addressed previously, but we are looking to hire a technical expert to do an analysis, basically lay out a grid, if you will, and decide where we need to do additional sampling, as well as collecting data from the samples already taken.
So I was just at NACO, and PFAS is a big topic there. mainly because it's all over the country. Everything we wear, do, and say almost drink. And it is a big, serious issue. There was a number of good discussions, and I sent our county attorney some information from one of the attorneys that is also representing some of the lawsuits on PFAS. And, you know, I also want to assure that when I was with Senator Ben Ray Lujan, I asked him to please ask the National Guard to please do a town hall, as Commissioner Bustamante had asked me. And I think that we need to continue to put pressure on the National Guard to be accessible and talking to the public, because they are the ones who possibly have some responsibility in this problem.
Agreed. Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Hanson, just on that point, so, you know, DOD is performing preliminary assessments and site inspections on a number of places across the country, including this facility at the Army National Guard. And so that's how they list the status of this particular assessment, is in that stage with the preliminary assessment and site inspection. And those, it's still it's underway, it's in process, and those can take 2 to 3 years to complete. And then, you know, they prioritize the cleanups using a circular process, and that process involves a number of steps as well. So they're at the first, you know, phase of this. This takes a number of years on the DOD side. However, you know, that's not to say that the county intends to coordinate with DOD and the city and other stakeholders, interested parties, to try to, you know, obtain as much grant funding as possible and, you know, avoid duplication of effort on that side. You know, also to be said about the individual well testing is I think Paul was referencing there. You know, it's going to be, individual testing will be a part of this planning and investigation stage, right? It will be included in the scope of work to some extent, but it's not an independent objective to go test every private well, because that would take a long time. But it is important that we test as many wells as possible and as necessary to, you know, do the modeling that the expert will do and conserve resources on other aspects of the project that will go into that. But really the goal is, you know, in this particular grant is to identify the source and, you know, potential mitigation or remediation projects that go into that.
Thank you. Other questions? Commissioner Green?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Paul and Jeff. Is the real source really attributed only to the National Guard facility, or is it the National Guard facility at the airport as well? As I understand, if I may be wrong, but I've heard that there was some training exercises done at the airport that are part of the problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I may answer that, we don't have a specific, there are speculated sources. There are a lot of different potential locations, but there are those that have higher probability.
Okay. And part of this would be the assessment of all of the above. Great, thank you.
Commissioner Hamilton.
So when you mentioned identify the source, is this by like directional hydrology or by like chemical fingerprinting, or do we not have a plan for that?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Hamilton, I don't think we know exactly how the expert will model that. And so that remains to be determined, I think, at this point.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Green, if I could answer your question, also address it. From what I've heard, was standard practice at airports on any fuel spill to throw a PFAS-containing fire retardant on that. So It may have been, some of it may have been connected with Air National Guard specific training at that facility, as well as operations at the airport. That's yet to be determined, the extent of it.
All right, any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, is there anything specifically that you would want to call out that we certainly would not be able to do with this grant money?
As far as I know, all options are open to be determined by what's identified by the technical scope of work.
I want to be clear that we're saying that we wouldn't be in the position to do everyone's well by request, and that we wouldn't be able to specifically address mitigation measures on personal wells. Is that correct? I want to make sure that that is clear.
Right now, the plan is not to test individual wells, all 1,000 individual wells. What the wells to be tested will be identified by the modeling expert.
Thank you.
I think we need a motion to move this forward if people are, unless there's other questions.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Bustamante, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Obviously, this is very important. I'm glad we're moving along with this. So item 6E is approved, and we need a resolution number.
Mr. Chair, the resolution number is 2024-023.
023.
Thank you all.
Okay, and then I think we have a related resolution on number F, which is a resolution to provide signature authority for the county manager to sign the NMED CWSRF interim grant agreement. And as I understand it, this is just related to the same issue.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner, that is correct, and as I understand it, NMED requires a separate resolution specifically to address these topics. That's why they were broken out.
Okay, would anyone care to make a motion on item 6F?
Move to approve item 6F, resolution to provide signature authority to the county manager to sign the NMED CWSRF interim grant agreement, EC 138.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Bustamante. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you all.
And Attorney Young. Next, we move to item 7, presentations, of which there are none.
Mr.
Taking
Chair?
us on to, oh, yes, resolution number for number F.
Yes, sir. It is 2024-024.
All right. Thank you very much. That takes us to item 8, matters of public concern. Is anyone in the audience here to speak to the commission? And Daniel, do we have people online as well? I see we have one person in the audience. Sir, did you care to come forward to the microphone and make your comments to us? And if you can keep it to about 3 minutes, I don't know if we have our...
Let me take a second. When I stood up, this fell out of my ears. I can't hear you.
Can you hear us now?
Say something?
Yes, if you could keep your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Okay, I can hear you again now. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is one I hope you pay attention to because it really involves the public concern. Can you hear me? You're turning your head. Am I okay with the sound?
Please tell us who you are.
Okay. So my concern I'm bringing you today is the way we're doing records handle for the public down to the clerk's office. I maintain that because of a recent event I had down there that they are in clear violation of EPRA, which is the Information Practices Act at the state law. And that came up here because I requested some records, which I've gotten from other clerks readily, and basically at the point where I came to get the records under EPRA, because they're in a database, I could get them for free, and I maintained that I should be able to hear, and I got a round denial. It said if I wanted those records, it would cost me $157. She was dead wrong. The staff had never heard of EPRA. They haven't even been advised of EPRA. They should be. The staff must be designed. Otherwise, they don't know how to treat the data or the customers that request it and what their rights are. Apparently, they've never been trained on EPRA. When I talked to the secretary, I ran into the clerk, and she said that she was aware of EPRA, but maintained it didn't apply to her. Well, it certainly does. It's a state law. So in my case, after a couple of days of going back and forth, they finally presented me with the records for free because that's the law. But if anybody else walks in that doesn't know about EPRA, you have to pay $157. And where does that $157 go? It goes right into the slush fund in the clerk's office. The records fund, which you folks have no particular oversight over, is used to do things like buy pickup trucks for the clerk. I suggest you really need to do some oversight at the clerk's office. They need to get on board with the EPRA Act, because what she just did right there looks like clear larceny. And if innocents are walking in, and most people are innocent about EPRA, and walk in and ask for some records that they're entitled to for free, and they're told, what's EPRA? Cough up the money, and they turn around and put the money right in their slush fund, which you folks aren't doing oversight over either. So they've got a big incentive to take that money and put it in their fund. You had a problem there. I call it larceny. So please take a look at this. Your EPRA handling is not legal. The clerk doesn't want to deal with this because it's to her advantage not to. And the public interest needs to be served. When they walk in there with EPRA rights, they should have them, and they shouldn't be required to cough up money which is illegal of them to demand. The whole staff needs to get trained. If I walk in there and say, I've got an EPRA request, they should say yes. Instead, they say, we got to do a lot better than this, folks. I mean, that's what the commission's here for, right? Is protect the interests of the public. I'll stop there and take, please, this is serious. And
can you please
identify
yourself, please, for the record?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'm Chris Michels, and I live in Tesuque, and I've done a lot of EPRA work that required a lot of EPRA requests around the state. Our county here is the worst I've run into on EPRA requests.
Thank you very much for your comments. And Daniel, do we have anybody online who wishes to comment?
Mr. Chair, I don't see anybody online indicating that they'd like to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room who would like to speak? Okay. Not seeing any, we'll close matters of public concern and move on to matters from the county manager, miscellaneous updates. Manager Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. We have two updates. One, this is initial effort to inform employers within the unincorporated area of Santa Fe County that the living wage required by county ordinance will increase on March 1st of 2024 from $14.03 an hour to $14.60 per hour, in line with the CPI for the Western region for urban wage earners and clerical workers. In addition, the tipped living wage will likewise increase from $4.21 an hour to $4.36 an hour. So we'll be doing public outreach to alert employers in the unincorporated area of that pending increase. Secondly, did want to announce an upcoming, public meeting relative to the county's hazard mitigation plan, and that will take place this Thursday, February 15th, at 6 p.m. at Santa Fe County Fire Station 80 at 645 Old Las Vegas Highway. There are two more in-person public meetings that are scheduled in March, one in Pojoaque and one south in the Edgewood area. And in addition, we will be having an all-virtual meeting, the details of which will be announced soon. Finally, there is an option for members of the public to respond to a survey as well. For additional information, you can contact the county's website or Fire Chief Jacob Black. But we do definitely encourage public participation in our hazard mitigation planning process. Those are the miscellaneous updates I have for the board. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board about any of that? If not, I think we can move on to item 9B, the second session of the 56th Legislature, updates and potential action. Is Hachi going to give us an update?
I hope so, or else he's really just trying to help us out to complete the meeting by 3:15.
Yeah.
But let me double check.
Probably didn't figure it'd be on till about.
While we conjure up Hachi, if you want to move on, Mr. Chair, to commissioner updates and other elected officials, again, we might be able to be done then by the 3:15 goal. Thanks.
Okay, we will move on to matters from county commissioners and other elected officials. I forget which side we started on last time, but maybe we'll start with Commissioner Green this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and yeah, just it's exciting times over at the legislature. I really hope we close out strong, and I'm looking forward to hearing about the projects that are going to be funded from Hachi. So I'll keep it short today because that seems to be the theme of the day.
Commissioner Hanson.
Okay, well, I might not be so short. So as you all know, I just returned from Washington, D.C., where we had this great recognition of Senator Heinrich, and then I had the opportunity to meet with staff of all of our congressional offices. Senator Ben Ray Lujan I met with in person. We had a lively discussion. Then I also met with Senator Heinrich's staff and Teresa Ledger Fernandez's staff, and I saw her for a few minutes, and that was all very good. Then at NACO, as president of the Women of NACO, I held a meeting and reception, and Glenn Latchell from Western Leaders Network presented on election security, and her talk was very well received. There was about 150 women of NACO who attended. We had a competition of at least 7 other events happening at exactly the same time. So everyone said we did really well. I would have liked to have seen a larger group, but then that day also, in EELU, myself, Commissioner Green, even though he wasn't there, Councilor Randall Wrighty, and Daniel Duran presented a proposed resolution to EELU to request the Department of Energy to develop a new grant program to assist in mitigating the impacts and stressors on county, municipal, and tribal governments that surround DOE facilities. The DOE grant program could be modeled after the Department of Defense Community Infrastructure Pilot Program. That passed with flying colors out of EELU. It seems that all counties that surround DOE facilities don't think that DOE is doing enough for the constituents that live around the facilities. So Randall did a great job, and he asked me to please stand up with him, and we said a few words, but we hardly had to say anything because it wasn't controversial. And then Commissioner Darlene Vigil of Taos County and myself presented a resolution on the support of the WEST Act, which is part of the Farm Bill, and it is to help increase to help with mitigation of drought and to help with perennial production on farmland. And it would increase the pay from 75 to 85%, and it has not been updated since 1985. So we did have to present it also in agriculture, because that is the committee that oversees the Farm Bill, and we did get it passed. It was a little more controversial than the other one. I didn't think it would be, but you know, the different things happened, but they both passed, so that was a big win for us. One of the things that I have tried to help with the women of NACO understand is that NACO is a lobbying organization. And the way you get them to lobby for you is to write resolutions so that they will support your initiatives. And in the 7 years that I participated in NACO, I've written a number of resolutions. Somebody actually called me the queen of resolutions. I don't think I've written that many resolutions to make it into that category. But I do try to get a resolution written every meeting, because I think it's really important to promote our policies. And it was a very good meeting. There was a lot of really good information presented on election security, on PFAS, on transportation, etc. So I'm very happy to be home. I'm a little tired since I left this morning from Washington, D.C. at 3:40. So to be here with all of you, because I didn't want to miss all of you. And so thank you. That's really all I have to say at the moment.
Thank you. I guess we'll move over to Commissioner Hamilton.
I just want to wish everybody a happy first few days of the Year of the Dragon.
Yay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bustamante.
As well, happy Valentine's for those of you who practice.
Practice a lot.
That's funny. All right, just a few things. We do have on Thursday, for those who would be interested, at 6 o'clock in Los Cerrillos, there will be some finalization, some community input on the color of the stucco, lighting, etc., on the new community center. So that has been moved to Thursday. It was originally for tomorrow. So the purpose of this is to let people know that we didn't want to impede on anyone's Valentine's plans, and it will be at 6 o'clock in Cerrillos. The other thing we are planning with the La Cienega Valley Association, the National Guard, and others, we have both Ben Ray Lujan and our Congresswoman Teresa Leger Fernandez for a town hall. And we're looking forward to working with as was stated earlier by Paul Showman, it's not the county's problem, but we are being proactive in what we can do to support our community members. So the town hall was planned for the end of March, and that date had to be moved as of this afternoon because it was falling right on Easter weekend. So we're going to look for a different weekend. And then with regard to the community of Galisteo, they are looking forward to the no Jake break signs that we approved recently, or actually noticed recently. They are concerned about the large trucks and what is doing to the infrastructure on the older Adobe buildings in the community. And that's pretty much all we have from District 3, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bustamante, and back to Commissioner Hanson for one item.
I apologize, but Thursday is a overbooked day. There's the hazard mitigation. There's the electrical power line that's going across the Caja del Rio at the Santa Fe Community College, starting at 4 p.m. With a poster session, and then 5 to 7 with public comments and presentations from NNSA. When I was in D.C., I did also meet with NNSA Undersecretary And one of the other discussions that was happening at NACO is there seems to be this talk from the federal government to create federal transmission lines across certain places regarding national security, which was a little disturbing. But then the other thing that's happening on Thursday is there's a SWAMA meeting, a solid waste management agency. Commissioner Bustamante just mentioned a meeting on Thursday. So I don't know, I haven't figured out how to manifest in the 10 directions yet, but I'm going to try to make it to as many of these meetings as possible. And also, happy Year of the Wood Dragon, which began on February 10th. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hanson. Just a couple things from District 5, all which relate to roads. Several residents of the Cedar Road area are trying to figure out how to get the county to adopt their road. We sent them the instructions, which they found quite daunting. But they've also tried to create road associations to no avail. They can't get their neighbors interested after the fact. And so that is a problem I think we're going to have to at least realize is there that there are some roads in the county that are in very bad shape, and the residents are having trouble taking care of them themselves, getting their neighbors to cooperate, or figuring out how to get the county to adopt the road, which we know that's not easy either. I also want to mention the El Dorado Community Improvement Association is planning on phasing out their road committee and just cooperating more with the county. As you probably know, the roads in El Dorado are already county roads, and so I think they felt their road committee was a little bit redundant. And finally, on another road issue, Route 14, we would like to have a safety meeting, but we're going to hold off until Maria Molina, our new roads director, has time to do the evaluation that she's working on. So I think that meeting will be moved up to March for the residents out on Route 14. And that's all to do with roads in District 5. So thank you, everybody. I think we can move along to, where are we now? That would be other elected officials. Are there other elected officials who have something they would like to say at this time? Anything from the clerk's office? No? Any other officials? I don't see anybody in the room. Anybody online?
Mr. Chair, I do not see anybody online.
Okay. Manager Schaefer, do we have our elected official, our report on the legislation? Is that forthcoming?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I believe that Mr. Miller was actually at the legislature attending a committee hearing relative to capital outlay. If my intel is right, he's on his way back. So I would suggest that we would go into a brief executive session, and hopefully by the time that we're concluded, he will be back to wrap up our meeting.
Okay, that sounds good. So that would take us to matters from the county attorney, Attorney Young.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I'd ask that we go into executive session to discuss threatened or pending litigation in which Santa Fe County is or may become a participant as allowed by Section 10-15-1H7 in MSA 1978, including the NRA Suboxone antitrust litigation, MDL number 2445, United States District Court, Eastern District of Pennsylvania. And I think it will be a fairly short discussion. We can come back, I don't know, 15 minutes or so.
All right, and then we'll come back here afterwards since we'll have one item left. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I move to go into an executive session to discuss the matters from the county attorney as described.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Green, seconded by Commissioner Hamilton, and we need a roll call.
We do that together?
Commissioner Anna Hamilton?
Yes.
Commissioner Justin Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Anna Hansen?
Yes.
Commissioner Camila Bustamante?
Yes.
And Chair Hank Hughes.
Yes, so we will go into executive session and come back in about half an hour, it sounds like.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army retired.
Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the Correctional Facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us. Why do you work for Santa Fe County?
For my family.
For your safety. For you.
For my community.
For the public.
For the community.
For the retirement.
To serve my community.
For my family.
For the outdoors.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army retired.
Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the Correctional Facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us. Why do you work for Santa Fe County?
For my family.
For your safety. For you.
For my community.
For the public.
For the community.
For the retirement.
To serve my community.
For my family.
For the outdoors.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army retired. Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service, 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the correctional facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us. Why do you work for Santa Fe County?
For my family.
For your safety. For you.
For my community.
For the public.
For the community.
For the retirement.
To serve my community.
For my family.
For the outdoors.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army retired. Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the correctional facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us. Why do you work for Santa Fe County?
For my family.
For your safety. For you.
For my community.
For the public.
For the community.
For the retirement.
To serve my community.
For my family.
For the outdoors.
David Crispin with the United States Marine Corps.
Jacqueline Beam, 519th Military Intelligence, U.S. Army.
Matthew Hernandez, United States Navy.
Keith Claxton, United States Navy.
Paul Portillo, United States Navy.
Robert Griego, U.S. Navy, Operations Specialist.
Chris Oakley, United States Navy, United States Marine Corps, State of New Mexico Army National Guard.
Melinda Medlin, United States Army.
Norman Aragod, U.S. Army National Guard.
Raven Nieto, United States Army.
Oscar Martin Lopez, United States Marine Corps.
Martin, United States Army retired. Valentino Baca, United States Marine Corps.
Jeff Folgate, United States Air Force.
Kenneth Quintana, United States Army, and as well as New Mexico National Guard. Combined service 24 years.
Santa Fe County is hiring. Every Tuesday, Public Works holds a rapid hire event at 102 Grant Avenue at 8:30 a.m. Also, the correctional facility holds a rapid hire event every Tuesday at 9 a.m. That is at 28 Camino Justicia. We have great jobs, great pay, and great benefits. Come work with us.
We need a motion to come out of executive session.
Mr. Chair, I move we come out of executive session and indicate the only thing we discussed were those things that were listed on our motion to go into executive session, and no decisions were made.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
And the motion was by Commissioner Hamilton, seconded by Commissioner Bustamante, and that passes. Now I think we can go back in our agenda to the report from the legislature. Go ahead, Hachi.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. It feels a lot better being back at a podium and not sitting down. Sorry I was late. I just came back from the Capitol and was there listening to the capital outlay bill, which was in Senate Finance. And I'm trying to get a copy from our other two contract lobbyists so that we can start filtering through and combing through what are all our Santa Fe County projects right now. So unfortunately, I don't have a definitive number, but I'm gonna blame it on them because they made me wait so long into the session to the second to the last day to get the capital outlay through. So with that being said, hopefully I'll be able to get a copy sometime this afternoon from our lobbyists, or I'll run back over there now and get it and start going through it and let you know by this evening what it looks like for our projects for Santa Fe County. So I'm confused that the days already. It was just yesterday that the budget got passed through, so it cleared up a lot of room for everything that needs to be passed as well that's tied to the budget. So truth be told, there isn't a whole lot of movement that's been made as far as the initiatives that were outlined at the beginning of the session, but I can also provide you this afternoon an outline of what it looks like right now as far as everything that's passed both houses. But even now, I mean, from current time right now to later this evening, it's going to be a lot more of what's actually passed through both houses because everything's in hyperspeed right now because the budget's been passed and you know whether or not your money's been allocated and if it's really needing that last step for the legislative language to clear as well. I can talk about a little bit about the tax package, which is also passed just yesterday. And fortunately, there were some good measures in there regarding environmental measures for solar credits, for EVs, electric vehicles. And there's also different components within the House budget right now, setting up different funding mechanisms for future environmental measures that the state is looking towards. But if there's any particular questions that you have right now on any other pieces of legislation, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure we'll all be looking forward to hearing about the capital outlay when you get the information. Any questions from the board? Not seeing any questions. This has been the meeting with no questions. So, so thank you very much for that report, and we'll look forward to hearing all the details once all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll make sure to make contact with you this evening about the capital outlay bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Oh, we have Commissioner Hanson.
So will you send us the whole entire list of capital outlay for the county, including what the city of Sakias and everybody got? I mean, I know you're going to sort out ours, but it's always interesting to see competition.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Hanson, I sure will send out the whole list. But the way it is right now, it's in the draft, it's in the bill form, so it's by state agency, so you have to look through Department of Transportation, DFA, Aging and Long-Term Services. So wherever our particular project might have fallen, we have to go through there and make sure that we do pick it out from the bill itself. But I'll make sure and highlight everything.
It's a much bigger undertaking than.
As a trick to that, if I may.
Commissioner Green?
As a trick to that, if you send us the whole bill, if you, Commissioner Hanson, do a word search If you string the three words Santa Fe County, you'll get things that are in different jurisdictions. It's not necessarily our project, but you will get a list of those. So if it's a DOT project, but it happens to be in Santa Fe County, you'll get that. If it happens to be a Santa Fe County project in Santa Fe County, obviously, that'll pop up as well. So has it gone through the House Appropriations Committee already, or and now it's at Senate Finance? Because I had heard it was going to the House first.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Green, it's actually coming from the Senate side.
First, okay.
Yes.
All right.
All right, any other questions, comments? Thank you, Hutchie.
Thank you.
We look forward to lots of good news in the capital outlay bill. I think that takes us to announcements. Any announcements? How about a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I move to adjourn.
Okay.
All right, we have multiple firsts and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, record time.
Congratulations, you hold the record, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. It makes up for the last time when we were here till 9:30.
I had one meeting that was really short, but that a few years ago. But in 2018, but